What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Knives of the Round Table. My name is Marco, and today we have a special one for you. This is the Skiff Made Drifter. Now, a lot of you may be familiar with Skiff. I think he's quite known in the knife community for his bearings. You know, he makes extremely high quality ceramic bearings that you can put in a lot of knives. I know that I have some of his bearings on some of my Hinder knives, and I know that a lot of people, I believe that Lefty EDC, I think that whatever knife he gets, he like puts skiff bearings on all of his knives immediately. But he also makes knives, and he makes extremely good knives. And this is the Skiff Made Drifter. So I think he has like 2 or 3 models that he makes, but he goes through cycles. Right now, I think he's doing only this one, and then he'll stop making this one, and I think he goes and starts doing the other one. But these are you know, really good knives. So let me kind of give you a little bit of a tour of the knife, and then we can get started with the review. So what you have here in this version of the knife, okay, it's a Damacore blade, okay, and I'll show you the dimensions here. About 3¼ inches, which is kind of my ideal size. And for those of you who don't know, so a Damascus style blade is basically just a combination of 2 steels, right? And when you dip them in acid, what happens is that one of the steels kind of it corrodes basically from the acid a little bit faster, so it etches, right? But if you have 2 crappy steels, right, then you end up with a crappy mush of steels, okay? So then a better step is when you have Damas steel, and Damas steel is proprietary. So Damas steel is different from Damascus. So Damas steel is a Damascus style, but what they do is they mix powdered steels. I think one of them is CPM 154, and I'm not quite sure what the other one is, but they found a way to mush those 2 up. So what you end up with is a fairly good a blend of steel. So you get all of the beauty of the Damascus, right, but with something that actually has good edge retention. Well, the next step is what they call a Damacore. So basically what you end up with is, hopefully this comes across, and it is a mirror edge blade, so it's very hard to capture, but hopefully it comes across that the last layer is a little bit bigger, this last layer of steel, and that is the core. So what they do is, I believe in this one they have a Vanex core, and actually hopefully you can see it here as well. It's the thicker portion, the thicker layer right there in the center of the blade. So what they do is they do a high kind of edge retention core in the middle, and then they do their Damas steel on the outside. So this is kind of like, I think, probably the best of all worlds, right? You get very high edge retention on your cutting edge, and then you get the beauty of a Damascus style that is from powdered steel on the exterior. So this is just phenomenal, and this one they've done in a mirror polish. So you're gonna have to forgive if I can't get the beauty of it, but it's just an incredible blade. This is a sheep's foot blade, okay? It is a flipper titanium frame lock. You have they have like a whole bunch of different kind of pivot colors that they do. One of them is like basically blue, but it's a continuation of their milling pattern. I like this. I think this is called like the Captain America shield. I like this one. They do some in like Damascus, and they do all kinds of stuff. It's really, really nice. On this side, what I have here is a very long pocket clip. It's kind of like, it's weird. I always said that the one on the Herman knives was very long, but this is just about as long. And you can see the mill pattern just continues here. You have this really beautiful wave pattern on the. Hopefully, I'm letting that come across. It's just incredible, and you have like this face here, and then another one here. So it gives you that kind of contouring in this direction. You've got anodized back spacer, and obviously the action is just phenomenal. It's just incredible. So that's kind of the tour of the knife, but let me give you the size comparison so you know what we're dealing with here. That is the Para 2, and this here is the Para 3. And as I've always told you, for me, the ideal size for my knife is 3¼ inch blade. It's a size that kind of fits right in between these two. It falls down to a very compact shape. You know, it's a nice and compact little package. You can see kind of in the carry profile, it's shorter in the pocket. It is kind of shorter in this dimension as well. So it carries incredibly well. It doesn't carry very deep. I'll show you that here in a second, but let me give you, so that's against the bug outs, right? The full size bug out, that's a mini bug out, so a little bit bigger than the bug outs. But I think if I had to tell you, it's obviously heavier than the bug out, but I think it carries probably as close to, closer to a bug out than anything else that I've shown you here on the table. So, and what I said is it doesn't carry very deep, just because you got a decent amount sticking out of your pocket. So there you go. So let's start with the ergonomics of this knife, and the ergonomics on this knife are okay. It's not. You have very good texture. It feels incredible in the hand. The texture feels secure. It doesn't feel like it's gonna, like you're gonna, it's gonna fly out of your hand, which is kind of nice, especially for a knife this nice. You don't want this flying out of anywhere. But the ergonomics are nothing. It feels comfortable in the hand. There's no hot spots that I can feel, not even with this very, very long pocket clip. I don't feel any hot spots, but it doesn't melt in your hand. You don't get any of the contouring that you get kind of in the Para 2. It's a very neutral handle. Obviously, you can grab it in a variety of different styles. I mean, you do have like kind of this like large groove, and then a flat, and then another flat, and my hand kind of goes 3 fingers and 1 finger here in the back, so it kind of locks you in. But it's not a kind of melt in your hand type of ergonomic. It's fairly neutral, and it's comfortable, but it's not what I would say, yeah, this is what you want to cut 1,000 cardboard boxes with, right? Especially, you probably won't do that with this, right? This is more, at least for me, this is more of a Sunday or a party special occasion type carry. I carry all of my stuff, but I do choose the right tool for the right occasion, I guess is what I would say. And for those kinds of things, it is perfectly adequate. It is perfectly good. I feel like I have, something that I can use, something that is comfortable. Like I said, no hot spots, but at the same time, it's not gonna be a kind of a something that feels like it's just made for your hand, like like the Shiro F3NS. It just feels like it's made for your hand. That's not the feeling here. Now, let's talk action. Action, it is incredible. It is a controlled drop shot. It is smooth, like very few can achieve. Okay, you're talking kind of beyond conic areas type action. You're more in the Holt knife works or blade works, Holt blade works type action. It is incredible. My Holt deploys a little bit easier. The detent on this one is a tad bit more crisp. It's a little bit stronger, and but I think it's just an incredible action. It's just this very controlled, very smooth. It feels super premium. It has to be probably in the top 3 actions of any of my knives. It's got to be right up there. It's probably Shurgorov, it's probably Holt, and then it's probably this one. And this one very much in the neighborhood of the Holt action. I think the only reason that I have the Shiro at a better action is because the flipper tab is just, they do this, and Hinder does the same thing, and I wish they would stop. They do this as a curve just because you have like your finger right here, but because it's a curve, it's a little bit hooky right there. So, and because the detent is a little bit stronger, you have to kind of pull against that hook. And because you pull against that hook, it's not the most comfortable flipper tab in the world. It works better as a light switch than a push button. And I wish, it's a mirror polished blade, so everything is mirror polished. You can see everything's kind of mirror polished. But here in the back, I wish that they would first present a flat face and give you some jimping, just because it's super smooth, especially if, at the end of the day, your hand is maybe a little bit, either sweaty or a little bit greasier or whatever. And it's happened to me that I fall off the flipper tab because the detent's a little bit stronger. So I wish that they would do some jimping here, present a flat face, and and just allow me to. It would be a little bit more reliable to deploy. Now, I am very much nitpicking. I think this knife was like $1,200 or thereabouts. So you get to nitpick a knife that is this expensive, and the action is just so incredibly good. And I do like the detent. It's a little bit stiffer, but I do like it. But I wish that they had a little bit of jimping and a flatter face to be able to, if I'm gonna push a little bit harder or pull a little bit harder on that flipper tab, to deploy that stronger detent, I want it to be a little bit more comfortable. That's what I would say on this. Something that I forgot to mention is that this oversized kind of pivot, it also acts as the over travel stop. You do get a lock bar insert. I don't know if you can see it from the inside. Yeah, you can see it right there. You can see that the lock bar insert. So you do get a hardened steel insert. But the over travel stop is done with a pivot, kind of like the spot pivot from Curtis knives, sort of in that range. So the action, like I said, is if you like a little bit stiffer, crisper detent, this is definitely the knife for you. It's a little bit stronger than what you get on a Koenig or a Shiro, stronger than what you get on a Holt. The drop shot action, I think this is just beyond good. It's really good. It's exceptionally good. So like I said, I think it's probably in the top 3 of action of my collection. Okay. Cutting. So let me show you here thickness of the blade, and hopefully you can see it's very much in the same neighborhood. It's a little bit thinner than what you get on a Para 2. Okay, so but it's not a flat grind from here to here or a saber grind, right? You get this wedge and then you get that tiny bit of flat, but from here down, it's not a flat. It's actually a hollow. and I don't know if it's a very slight hollow, but what happens is that this comes to a very, very, very nice and thin edge. It came really, really sharp, and it gets to a very, very thin edge. Now, this is not a knife. I've always said the only rule that I put for myself is that I will carry and use all of my stuff. But if I am going to be cutting a lot of stuff, this is not the knife I pick up, just because it's a very nice knife. Like I said, this is more of a party, like a special occasions, a Sunday type carry, you know, where I may need a knife, but it's not, you know, where I know that I'm going to be doing a lot of, you know, a lot of work. This is not the knife I carry. So it cuts very well. It's a very good slicer. I did test it on cardboard. I did test it on a lot of stuff. And it slices very well. I'm not sure if this is the knife that you want to take when you're going to be cutting a lot of stuff. You could, and it's very good and it's very slicey, but I think it's a cutting tool that will cut what you need on those special occasions, and it will cut very well. I guess what I'm trying to say is it's an extremely capable knife, but you'll never use it for its full capacity just because it's such a nice knife. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. It exceeds the use for which most people will use a knife like this. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Now, fit and finish, and this is where I mean, if I haven't gushed enough, then this is where I really go all in. You have this. Let me show you the pivot here a little bit closer. So you have like this. So you have a Torx in the middle, but then you have like a matching star all around the center portion of the Torx, and then you have like this little dots in the points of the star, and then it's not just a star. You got like this circular divots all around, and then the milling on the Captain America shield, and then it just blends, or it's just perfectly with the milling. The milling on this, so you have to be thinking a little bit better than what Herman does, or thereabout. Yeah, probably a little bit better than Herman. And you know, either at the quality or maybe even better than the Holt milling. Those two are very close. So if you've ever held a Holt, not a Colt, a Holt, then you'll know what this is. The milling quality on these knives is just amazing. I've always said on my channel that there's a tactile quality to some of the high-end knives, right? Something that I can show you the milling and you'll see that it's beautiful, right? But there's something about running your finger over these waves that you're like, oh my God, and that's kind of where you get it. So if you ever consider like having one of these as your grails, and this is a very worthy grail, okay, right here, what I would suggest is you go to like a blade show, or you know, to any knife show basically, where they're gonna have some of these, the Shirogorovs, the Herman knives, the Holt, all of those. Okay, get one of these in your hand, because you will realize that there's milling on titanium, and then there's milling on titanium. Not too long ago, I showed the Zinkovich zero tolerance, and that has milling, and it has kind of like these faces, but this is on a different level, and I do have to tell you that it's on a different level. And there's something that I'm not going to be able to put everything into words, how it feels, you know, the textile quality, the heft that you feel, the solidity that holding one of these knives feels. It is you're gonna have to trust me that there's a portion of the quality that all I can tell you is get it in your hands and you'll know. And this is this is probably one of the best fit and finish and quality knives that I own. You know, I would put fit and finish and milling quality and everything like that at Shiro or above level, at Holt or above level. Like, I don't have my conic areas is the plain Jane. It's not the milled conic areas, so I wouldn't be able to compare it to that. But this feels a lot more premium than my conic areas. But my conic areas is a plain Jane, so I gotta tell you that it's probably not a one-to-one or a fair comparison. Okay, I gotta say that. Incredible fit and finish, really incredible fit and finish. Now, airing of grievances. I think I've already mentioned. Basically, my only grievance here is the flipper tab, and I do wish, like I said, it's been polished and it's a little hooky. I would rather have a flat face here instead of a curved face, and some jimping or just, you know, kind of satin at least. But the polished version of it's, at the end of the day, sometimes I slip off the flipper tab just because the detail's a little bit stronger. Oh, and one thing that it's become a pet peeve of mine, and they've done it so well here that I do want to mention it. The lock bar access. The lock bar access is just incredibly good. They've kind of milled out, you know, this divot on both sides of the show face and the lock face, and it is just very fidgety just because of that. They've made it very comfortable. It is incredibly good. And let me show you here. You can see, so you can see this is Drifter number, I think it's 267. They've milled that on the inside face. I don't think that it has internal milling, and that is my preference. I've always told you that I like the feeling of solidity in my knives, and that's what they've done here. So guys, hopefully this has been helpful to you. I'm gonna try my best to get very good photos of this, and you're probably gonna be able to see them on my Instagram. But I've got to tell you that having it in hand doesn't really do it justice. Okay, well guys, hopefully this has been helpful to you. If it did, then like and subscribe, and until I see you at the next one, take care.